Okay, all right, I'm
So
thinking
I'll
out
pass
loud.
the buck back if I
Those were
may.
great
But, you know, I mean, you're all aware of what it takes to keep it running. So,
Councilmember Knudsen and Councilmember,
We both had the same question.
Well-
How much is the Ferry Task Force going to cover up the issues that we're currently discussing?
are they assembled to talk about replacement of the ferry?
Well,
I thought they were gonna work on schedules.
Fair.
well, I think they talked about that too.
One of the things that could be discussed would be, this is one of the reasons I did not vote for that ferry thing, which was gonna be many millions on our part, is that there were, at that time, I think they're still available, some ferries that had been operating on the Great Lakes that were in very good condition, and they were like between 2 and 4 million total. And I think we do need to look at something like that if they're not using them. And if it's in good condition, no salt water damage. So I do think those are things that could be opened up through the task force.
The task force specifically, I have it in here, but I don't want to dig it out, was to look at the fairs and give us recommendations on the fair schedule. And then there was some talk about an advisory board, a ferry advisory board, which we have not implemented, taking on some of those bigger, longer term behemoth problems. Because the task force is supposed to give us a recommendation and be done by August.
And were they
But
not also
the
looking at the
cost-
costs?
this has
The
to
cost
do
side,
with cost.
not replacing the ferry, but on the cost side? Efficiencies and all that sort of stuff? I think was included in
How
that.
the costs are allocated through the ferry fund and
Well, that would
public
be
works.
a part of the fares, I would
That's
think,
part of
yeah,
it, yeah.
administrative costs and all of those things.
Yeah, but not to take on finding new ferries or new routes.
No,
or
I didn't mean
sort
that
of
they
thing.
would take that on. I'm just saying, to me, it was a broad issue, the costs. And they include, replacement, repair, maintenance, everything. So there are people on Lummi Island especially who do know that kind of stuff. And I think it should be out there.
I just would be cautious about piling too much on that task force, especially when I believe the majority of us that voted for it wanted to get a report back from people that ride the ferry, live on the island, have some knowledge about how transportation systems work. They were gonna report back on what the fare structure would be, because there were so many different opinions on how we should implement.
Well, isn't the
Ferry
cost of the
increase.
ferry have anything to do with the fare structure?
Well, it does if you add more on, but it, certainly, but we have costs right now that we have to deal with, without adding on more costs to deal with.
But as the ferry needs more maintenance, more this, more that, it seems like we both had the same question, so
Didn't we
I'm
have a
thinking
deficit?
it wasn't all
to
that
raise
clear to
A
everybody.
deficit that we had to raise dairy fares?
That's correct, which is
And-
primary reason
The primary reason we
to start
raised
covering the
them
55% operational
Was-
costs.
was because we had a deficit.
Yeah, but the more repairs and stuff.
I
that
don't
they-
disagree with you.
It's kinda where we draw the line.
Just,
So I don't know, and I hate to interject myself, I'm not sure if,
Okay.
if there is clear guidance then, hopefully there'll be clear guidance to this task force regarding exactly what the expectation is and when, but I'm going to assume that they're going to look at all our operational costs in detail and the operational costs of other similar operations in the state or elsewhere wherever they wish to do that, as well as looking at how other fares are structured at other similar operations, how much cost they recover. I mean, I'm looking at general operations expenses, and